Well, the Department of Homeland Security now confirming cyber threats to the election, even worse than we thought they would be.
An increasing level of sophistication with nation-state actors, hacktivists, and so forth. What we are seeing are efforts to get into voter registration rolls, the identity of registered voters, things of that nature.
Hackers are targeting voter registration systems in more than 20 states. It's a big story. Here to react to it, former DOJ official, president of the Public Interest Legal Foundation, our old friend J. Christian Adams. Christian, it's great to see you this morning.
Hey, Tucker.
So public confidence in our voting system is integral. Once that evaporates, everything falls apart. It does seem like, though, we have reason to be really concerned about the integrity of our elections.
We do, but this hacking story doesn't concern me. They could have bought this data from commercial vendors. Political parties have this data. This doesn't have anything to do with the actual voting. This is just trying to get access to the databases. It doesn't concern me because the elections are decentralized, like the Constitution set them to be. So there's thousands of election officials who actually do the number totals for the election. It's not the bigger concern, if you're worried about foreign influence on the elections, is all the foreigners on the voter rolls. That's where we have tens of thousands of foreigners on the voter rolls who are actually going to be voting in this election.
And by foreigners, just be clear, you don't mean foreign-born people, you mean non-U.S. citizens who are not by law allowed to vote, and they will be voting, you're saying.
Well, that's right. And, you know, Public Interest Legal Foundation just released a report this week. In Virginia alone, Tucker, in Virginia, just looking at 8 counties, we found that there were 1,000 people in these 8 counties who were accidentally caught being aliens on the voter rolls. Some are voting. Their favorite elections to vote are the presidential elections. So this is a real problem, and election officials aren't doing enough about it, particularly in Virginia, to really make this election clear. Non-citizens are voting in American elections, and the system is failing to prevent it.
But wait a second. Why should it be left up to you, a private citizen, to find this out and bring it to public attention? Shouldn't the election authorities be working on this full-time to make sure that only legally registered voters vote?
Yeah, the report we're releasing today actually gives the names of some of these foreigners. Every single one of them who registered to vote committed a federal felony. Every single one of the foreigners that we found actually voted, probably in the presidential election for a certain candidate, every single one of them committed a federal felony. Will this Justice Department do anything about it? But it's worse, Tucker. The Virginia State Board of Elections is instructing election officials not even to reveal to us the extent of the problem. Only 8 counties responded to our request out of 123 counties in Virginia. So the problem is far worse. It's a swing state. Aliens are on the rolls and are probably going to vote in this election unless we do something about it.
So we're almost out of time, but really quickly, Democrats are arguing that to require a driver's license is inherently racist because somehow non-white voters just don't have driver's licenses and can't get them. Is there any other reason to support that position other than to abet voter fraud?
No, there's not, and we need to have citizenship verification. States like Virginia aren't even checking to see if these are aliens. They're getting on the rolls because they lie on the DMV checkbox. They say, yes, I'm a citizen, so thousands of them are getting on the rolls.
Boy, is that scary. J. Christian Adams joining us live this morning. Thanks a lot for that. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
The New York Times trying to take Donald Trump with a front-page story about his taxes. Is Hillary Clinton about to get an October surprise of her own, and will either one make any difference at all in the outcome? Trump has just responded. Chris Stirewalt will join us at the top of the hour to break it all down. But up next, what do you get by adding pumpkins with Abby Huntsman on the plaza? We're not sure, but it's all good. And it's next.
Good morning to you. It is Sunday, October 2nd, 2016. I'm Abby Huntsman, and a bold move from the New York Times trying to take down Donald Trump with a front-page story claiming he has not paid taxes in nearly 2 decades. But the evidence and how they got it raising some serious questions. We will have Trump's response just moments ago.
Oh, no, we didn't. We just got word Hillary Clinton is about to get her own October surprise, courtesy of the silver-haired Australian known as Julian Assange. That's the claim, anyway. We'll try to find out if it's true.
And guess who's back? The ousted Democratic leader Debbie Wasserman Schultz hitting the campaign trail to lecture us on who's unfit for office. Not kidding. Mornings Better with Chris Stirewalt coming up next. Yeah, nothing Everything says fall, and Chris Steiwalt joining us on the couch. We've got a fall festival, pumpkins, a little spice in the air today.
Guys, we always have something to celebrate on the show. Every time we've been on here, we are celebrating something fun. The plaza outside is full of kids having a blast, painting their faces. Pumpkins, apples, donuts, cider.
It's actually unbelievable. It's Liberian Independence Day next week. And we're going to be celebrating here.
Why not?
Nothing goes uncelebrated on Fox and Friends, including the arrival of our old friend, Fox News digital politics editor, Chris Steiwalt, who joins us now.
Trying to bring the autumnal splendor here. This is a lot of pressure. I don't know if I can live up to this degree of celebratoriness.
Luckily, there's a presidential race. The news story is the Trump tax returns, 3 pages of which 1995 were sent to the New York Times by someone unknown. So the question is not whether he did something illegal. It looks like he didn't.
Right.
The question for me is, why didn't anybody in 1995 say anything about this system we now all acknowledge is corrupt and bad for ordinary people? In other words, Bill Clinton was the president in 1995.
Okay.
I was covering politics. I remember Bill Clinton saying, you know what, our tax code is so rotten that you can lose $1 billion and write off
It
taxes
wasn't
for
$1 billion.
18 years.
He was short of $1 billion. Now, I read today, adjusted to be about $1.5 billion in current terms. So that was a huge loss.
Right.
What I can't understand is, and this is totally baffling to me, they had months to put this out. The Trump campaign this is malpractice. This could have gone out in May. This could have gone out in June.
Why didn't they?
You
even
just
during
say the words. It's just a sentence. You just say, Donald Trump had a really bad year in 1995. He went kablooey, and as a consequence, he didn't pay any taxes for almost 20 years, if that is in fact the case.
Right.
You say it, they make fun of you, you have a bad week, and it's May, and it doesn't matter.
And
who cares?
right.
Now it's October.
It's not even part of the general
Holy
election.
crokinole.
So Donald Trump is out now tweeting about it. This was his response this morning, just moments ago. He said, I know our complex tax laws better than anyone who has ever run for president, and am the only one who can fix them. To your point, Tucker, hashtag failing at the New York Times, which we know he loves that.
We're going to turn it around. Look, his argument isn't groundless, but the point is it's October. It's just it's so as you were celebrating with pumpkins and spiced donuts. It's so October, and in October, I'm sure Hillary Clinton is going to have bad weeks in October. The point now is, yeah, it's an argument you can make, but he doesn't have enough time to make.
But why not make the macro case on taxes? If I work at a job, if I'm a wage earner, I pay literally twice the rate of someone who's investing.
Right.
We are discouraging work in favor of passive investing. Why is that a good thing?
And neither of these candidates, to be fair, Trump's tax plan is much more aggressive than Clinton's plan is, but these are both campaigns that are sort of around the edges on taxes and not addressing these fundamental core issues.
Although Trump would say he's cutting corporate taxes by a lot, and then that would stimulate the economy. We'll see whether...
Do people care, though? Do people actually care? You mentioned he should have ended this months ago, and I agree with you on that. But do you think, like, the voters in the swing states that actually are going to make a difference in this election are seeing this headline in the New York Times, that they're even reading the New York Times, and saying this is going to change my vote?
So the not paying taxes part, the losing money part, they don't care. He's a businessman. He even wrote a book about his comeback and about how he had a bad run and then he came back. So that's cool. You could do that. That's not a problem. What you can't do, though, is be seen as gaming the system to your own benefit to such a degree.
But wait a second, then. And I agree with everything you said. But the people who are currently gaming the system to their benefit for billions of dollars are 100% behind Hillary Clinton. 100%.
Like 99.8.
I don't think there's a single of the top 100 CEOs who's given to Donald Trump.
That's probably true.
So hedge fund manager, same thing. So why doesn't he say that?
His best moments, you're very right, his best moments in that debate were in the first third of the debate with economic populism and just kicking the stuffing out of her and trade and tax, all of that stuff about how he wants a flatter, fairer universe for the blue-collar Americans to work in. And that was his best part. That's his best argument.
And now,
he should make it.
Talking about October and fall. It wouldn't be October without maybe an October surprise. And Roger Stone, sometime advisor to Donald Trump, he's also on Twitter saying Wednesday at Hillary Clinton is done, period. Hashtag WikiLeaks.
Is done.
That's a big
Dunzo.
It's a pretty big statement.
Yeah.
Less than 140 characters. Do you think there's anything else, or have we seen so many emails that there's nothing left that could actually, as Abby said, change anybody's mind?
Does anybody here think that Julian Assange and the Kremlin or the Kremlin is going to let this election go without further a little more poking, a little more prodding into this? You know, we've seen a lot of this stuff. I bet Assange is not done. Whether she should be worried depends on what she did.
Yeah, so we've been talking the last 2 days about this leaked audio from a fundraiser that Hillary Clinton did back in February, where she's talking about millennials, talking about them basically being basement dwellers, these terrible baristas, whoever would go into that line of profession. Let's take a listen to what she had to say.
There's just a deep desire to believe that, we can have free college, free health care, that what we've done hasn't gone far enough and we just need to, go as far as, Scandinavia, whatever that means. They're children of the Great Recession, and they are living in their parents' basement.
Well, Chris, the Clinton campaign, to be clear, is saying she was not, I underline, not mocking millennials. She
not
was just
anti-basement.
No.
Pro-basement.
Not. I mean, she said they're down in the basement.
But they're losers, but she's not.
They're losers.
Right. It's cool. She's loser affirmative. And what did Trump talk about? What did Trump talk about? The 400-pound people who were playing on the internet, hacking people's emails. So it's been rough for technologically savvy basement dwellers.
Right.
And my parents had a nice basement. It was exposed in the back. It had a pool table, and I lived there. And Hillary Clinton, I'm now willing to say I did, and it was cool.
It was worth it. All right, so we had a Bernie Sanders supporter on earlier this morning getting her response to the sound from Clinton. Let's play her response.
This is the same thing that Hillary Clinton did when she ran against President Obama. Let's not forget when Bill Clinton said that they were buying into a fantasy. So the Clintons just tend to have their typical campaign strategy, which says that if you don't believe what we believe and on our side, then pretty much you believe in Tinkerbell and the Tooth Fairy. And it didn't work in 2008, and it won't work again. She has pretty much effectively moved never Hillary people to never ever Hillary people. No matter how many times Senator Bernie Sanders begs young voters, even with an ice cream and cherry on top, they simply will not show up.
She was hyper early on this morning and ready to play.
I like it.
But do you think we can assume that Hillary Clinton, we always ask who's the real Hillary Clinton, that she's at her most real, her most honest when she's speaking to donors?
Those are her people.
That's her
right.
world,
When she is with her people, yes, with her base. And this is what Democrats have long suspected about her, is that she's much more moderate than she pretended to have had an Obama conversion, that she pretended to have seen the light on all of these things and also be much more of a dove. That's not true. And what Democrats are going to have to wrestle with, and this is why this is going to be a bad election, an unhappy election for many of them, they have to choose between Trump and her. And as you were talking about earlier, on economic issues, Trump really has an argument to make to the Democratic Party. He has an argument to make to blue-collar, working-class voters to say, you've been screwed on trade, you've been screwed over on this, and this, and I'm going to break it, and I'm going to fix it.
It's simple.
Can that be something where Trump can win Pennsylvania because of what you're saying?
Yeah, win Pennsylvania.
No?
Well, I mean, it looks like a pretty long tote. It looks like, they ain't that tight. It looks like a pretty long tote right now. But Iowa, Nevada, Minnesota, there are states that have a lot of working-class white voters, and Donald Trump is outperforming previous Republicans there. We talk about how Donald Trump does worse in places like Virginia and elsewhere where other Republicans used to win. We talk less about the states where Donald Trump is doing better than normal Republicans.
But what is the actual explanation? If we don't like something, smoking, we tax it. If we do like it, building solar panels, we subsidize it.
Right, free money.
If it costs twice as much to work as it does to live off your trust fund, what are we saying to people who work?
Well, my trust fund wouldn't have gotten me out of Benwood, West Virginia.
No one ever answers the question.
No.
I don't know the answer either.
Look at us. I mean, we're just a couple guys in blue suits on a couch.
You had a really nice parents' basement to live in.
It was so
I don't know
sweet.
why you ever left.
I know. I should have stayed. It was a lot of
I'll tell you what, he had a nice basement, and I'll tell you what is on today, right?
Oh, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that.
You should mention
Dana Perino and I have a television show.
I
Actually,
Yeah.
you have
election.
a great television
And it's a great show.
It's fun, and she's great, and we have a fantastic panel. We have
who's on it?
I'm not telling you.
Okay.
No, we have we have Chuck Rocha, the Democratic strategist. I know.
I love him,
and he is very good. He calls himself a gun rack Democrat.
Yes,
he is hilarious.
He's the best. I know we got Rocha, so I have to come up with the A material. But we also have the news quiz, and all of the panelists have to participate in the news quiz.
I play along at home.
And for humiliation and shame.
Do you know the answers?
Oh, I write them.
I know, but
Chris Firewall.
You weren't here when we had Dana on, and she said that you're one of the smartest men she's ever met. She said, I hope that he's not watching this, because I never admit that to his face.
She's just the best, and she's the most gracious and graceful person. I'm privileged to work with her.
All right. Well, we love having you here. Good to see you.
Thank you.
All right. We do have some other headlines to get to this morning, starting with the Fox News alert. An angry crowd gathers overnight in Los Angeles after police shoot and kill a man following a car chase. Protesters starting a tense standoff with police at the scene.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. Come on, let's go, y'all. Let's go.
Officers were chasing down a car believed to be stolen. The passenger, Carnell Snell Jr., seen there, jumped out of the car and tried to run. That's when he was shot. Police say he did have a weapon, which was recovered from the scene. And the first lawsuit filed this morning against Saudi Arabia by a 9/11 widow, Stephanie Desmond, you can see her there, who lost her husband, Navy Commander Patrick Dunn at the Pentagon, says that without the help of Saudi Arabia, the terrorists never would have succeeded. Congress giving lawmakers like this the green light late last week by overriding a veto from President Obama. Hundreds of similar lawsuits are also expected. And stop paying POTUS. That is what more than 40,000 people are asking Congress in a new petition on Stand United. They say the president shouldn't be paid while aggressively campaigning for Hillary Clinton. President Obama's salary is about $400,000, and it costs $180,000 for every hour of flight on Air Force One. The petition comes as the president reportedly plans to devote at least one day every week to campaign for Hillary Clinton. And just when you thought the Gary Johnson campaign was done making gaffes, another cringeworthy moment blown this campaign, this time from his own running mate, Bill Weld.
Not sure anybody's more qualified than Hillary Clinton to be president of the United States. I mean, that's not the end of the inquiry, though. We were two-term governors, and I think Gary is very, very solid.
There.
Nobody's more qualified than Hillary, but my guy that I'm running with, he's solid.
Yeah,
he's good.
He's fine.
He's like a 7.
He's totally fine. Yeah, you know what?
He's like CC plus, CC plus.
He's in a tough position. How do you defend it?
Vote Gary Johnson. He's good enough.
He's fine. He's terrible at politics, but he's good enough.
Totally, you know.
Oh, poor guy. Don't you feel bad for them?
Well, I think that if Trump gets elected, it'll be because of Gary Johnson.
All right.
Nah.
You two are going to have to take this.
Really?
Nah. All right. We're going to let them have their own show over
You
here.
don't think that Gary Johnson helps Trump?
Right now, no. Gary Johnson has helped Trump now.
Yes.
Because he's hurting Hillary Clinton.
That's what I'm saying. Yes.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood.
Yeah, exactly.
Then I go back to
He's
100%
taking
agreement.
voters.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
All right. They're taking it to the green room. Meanwhile, I hope we're pushing the. Donald Trump knows Ohio is must win.
We have to win Ohio. Such an important state. Ohio.
There are some saying Hillary Clinton is giving up on the Buckeye State. And the media says that's okay. It doesn't matter anymore. Really? Former Ohio Congressman Dennis Kucinich, he's not taking that lying down. He's next.
Ohio took his Zen cone. And a doctor under fire for claiming men who support Hillary Clinton likely suffer from low testosterone. It's science. You can't deny it.
That's going to be
tell you more.
They're going to have to run it out.
We have to win Ohio. Such an important state. Ohio.
Ohio, for decades, Ohio's importance has been well documented. But the Clinton campaign is all of a sudden claiming maybe the state is no longer considered crucial. And the New York Times ran an article this week on the front page with the headline, Ohio, long a bellwether, is fading on the political map. So what do they know that we don't? Or are they just wrong? Former Ohio Congressman and Fox News contributor Dennis Kucinich joins me now. He ran for president. He knows a little something about the state as well. Good morning, Congressman. What do you think about all this talk that suddenly the Buckeye State doesn't matter?
Well, you know, Al Gore's campaign wrote off Ohio in 2000, and it's one of the many reasons why he lost the presidency. Hillary Clinton cannot afford to write off Ohio, but clearly she's in trouble on the trade issues. But if she's in trouble on trade in Ohio, then she's in trouble in Michigan and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania and North Carolina and Florida on trade. And those are all states that have been part of the millions of job losses that America's had because of China trade and NAFTA.
And to your point, Congressman, do you buy the argument from the Trump campaign as a Democrat? Do you buy the argument that maybe Donald Trump will have appeal with former Sanders supporters who are not sold on Clinton, not just because of trade, but just a broader argument about the economy leaving the working class behind?
Well, you know, this has been a concern. You have a $531 billion trade deficit last year, and we're looking at an America whose strategic industrial base has been undermined. This is a national security issue as well. Steel, automotive, aerospace, shipping, manufacturing parts. We're losing those industries because of trade deals that happened during the Clinton administration, and I think that Hillary Clinton is paying a price for that, but she still should be staying in Ohio, fighting it out in Ohio, Ohio has 18 electoral votes. It's a principal player in every presidential election. This one is no exception.
And no Republican has won the White House without it. And so if Donald Trump can win it, which Mitt Romney obviously could not, John McCain could not, maybe he has a fighting chance. Look at the Real Clear Politics average, though. Donald Trump up, but not by much. 42.7 in Ohio. Clinton 40.7. You see Johnson still maybe having an impact in these battlegrounds at 6.8%. Final point here. Do you think if the Clinton campaign is writing this off, Hillary Clinton hasn't been there since Labor Day. That suggests to me that they are, because they're not sending the candidate there anymore, basically. Could that be a mistake? Because the Real Clear Politics average suggests Trump's ahead, but not by much.
Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, it's still margin of error argument. Maybe the New York Times story was about demographic changes making Ohio less central to presidential elections. But if the Clinton campaign writes off Ohio because of trade issues, I can tell you that in a way it's a confession that they're having difficulty putting together the 270 votes, electoral votes, to gain the presidency. It means their campaign's in real trouble.
Some danger signs this morning from Congressman Dennis Kucinich. We appreciate your insights. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Just when you thought she was gone, Debbie Wasserman Schultz is back. She's hitting the campaign trail to lecture us on who's unfit for office. You're not going to want to miss that. Plus, one high school football player going viral for his patriotic play, raising the American flag after realizing the other team did not have one. This proud American joins us live. There he is, in uniform. Proud American man.
Hillary Clinton's only loyalty is to her financial contributors and to herself. I don't even think she's loyal to Bill. You want to know the truth. And really, folks, really, why should she be, right? Why should she be?
So Trump said he wasn't going to mention any of the Bill Clinton sex scandals during the first debate, and now he is switching his stance. Is this fair game as Clinton attacks him on his treatment of women? Here to debate it, Democratic strategist Crystal Ball, along with attorney and former Trump supporter David Wallace. Great to see you both. Crystal Ball,
good morning.
I think we can stipulate most people don't want to talk about sex scandals of any kind, but if Hillary Clinton is attacking Trump on the basis of some remarks he made to a Venezuelan beauty queen 20 years ago, isn't it fair to point out that Hillary Clinton attacked women who alleged mistreatment by her husband?
Well, first of all, in terms of his comments to Ms. Machado, he did reiterate some of them this week and continued to tweet about them and ask people to check out her sex tapes. So this is current things that are happening right now. But sure, I mean, Donald Trump can bring up whatever he wants in his campaign. I think Secretary Clinton said it best. He can run his campaign however he sees fit. But I think there's a reason here that the Clinton camp is basically daring him to bring up these old allegations, and that is that they think that women and men across the country are going to look at this stuff and say, why are you attacking Hillary for what her husband did? And I get it. She made some not so great comments about some of these women, but the other piece is, look, if someone was sleeping with my husband, I'm not sure I'd be super nice to them either. So I think people look at this and go, she was defending her family, she was defending her marriage. I get how she said these things at that time. Let's move forward.
So, David, look, why should I care about any of this? It seems to me that Trump has the best message any candidate's had in my lifetime. The middle class is dying. I'm here to help them. No one else is standing up for them. I'm going to. Why not just stick to that?
Well, and that's Hillary Clinton's greatest fear, is the next debate will focus on the real issues. The high unemployment, the paying ransom to state sponsors of domestic terrorism. Those are the issues that Donald Trump wins on. And if we focus on that in the next debate, there's no question he wins. But I got to say, Tucker, talking about what Hillary Clinton allegedly did, you got to understand, this wasn't just making disparaging comments to women. These were threats. These were attempts to coerce. These were attempts to silence women who made threats or made accusations of crimes against them, sexual assault, sexual battery.
Right.
So you can't just say this was something that, you know, Hillary did. She was a wife who was scorned. No, these were crimes. And when you try to silence someone who alleges crimes, that's a crime in and of itself. So there's no comparison between that and what making a beauty queen lose a little bit of weight 20 years ago because she's involved in a beauty contest.
So,
absolutely two different things.
So, Crystal, I would give Hillary a pass on the basis of what you said. Someone sleeps with her husband, you attack her, whatever, I get it. But don't you kind of forfeit your right to lecture the rest of us about feminism? I'm standing up for women. You just don't like strong women. Just this endless sanctimony about gender. It's like 1975 again. Every time she talks, maybe just like stop with that, okay? If you don't want to bring up the topic, stop lecturing me.
I'm not sure what campaign you've been watching, but I think it's completely fair game also to use Mr. Trump's own words about women. And we're not just talking about 20 years ago. I mean, in this very campaign,
Isn't it a
he
little
told a
shallow,
female
though?
reporter she
Like,
only
who
had her
cares?
job because she was beautiful.
Right.
I think people care. I mean, Tucker, women are half the country. By the way, majority of the country is themselves overweight. So, yeah, how your potential president views you and whether he happens to be a sexist pig,
I get all that. And Trump can be rude, and I'm not, you know, I understand all that. But isn't it, I mean, the country is facing real threats. That's why Trump is the nominee in the first place.
Yeah.
Isn't it beneath a serious
Tucker,
person like Hillary to focus on a beauty queen? No?
Well, Tucker, if you look at what she actually did this week, you know, she went out and gave a speech on college affordability. She talked about a project to get more young people involved in national service. So, yes, the media fixates on these comments because they're salacious. There's this horrible video of the press conference to go back and look at. But meanwhile, Hillary is actually trying to put plans out there and talk about the issues that you say matter to Americans.
So, David,
right
very quickly, are we going to see a disciplined Trump for the next week leading up to the next debate?
We're going to see disciplined Trump talking about the issues that count, talking about the issues that brought him to the top of the GOP.
He wasn't disciplined last
and talking
night.
about the issues that before this ridiculous last debate, assuming Anderson Cooper can stay fixed on these issues and not go into the red hearings, we're going to see Mr. Trump bring to the forefront the issues that will end up getting him elected president on November 8th.
Like whether Hillary cheated on Bill as he did last night.
Right. Thanks so much for joining us, both of you. Good to see you both.
Thanks,
Crystal,
Tucker.
David.
Thanks, Tucker. Take care.
Abby Huntsman, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. Thank you, Tucker. Now to some headlines this morning. A veteran returns from a tour overseas only to be attacked by a suspected terrorist right here at home. The California man saying he was on his way to play golf when another driver intentionally crashed into his car at 100 miles an hour. According to a police report, he was angry about Donald Trump's improper treatment of minorities, and the crash was done in the name of Allah. The FBI is now on that case. And a new warning from the U.S. Army. ISIS fighters are cross-dressing, disguising themselves as women to escape from U.S. forces in Afghanistan. Pictures like this surfacing on social media as fighters try to escape under the current counter-terror offensive. Earlier this year, ISIS fighters were also caught dressing as women in a bid to escape from a battle in Iraq. And an Oregon judge revealing his plan to confiscate and destroy every gun in the country.
If I could, I would take all the guns in America, put them on big barges, and go dump them in the ocean. Nobody would have a gun. Not police, not security, not anybody should have one.
Okay, well, that judge, citing some statistics that he read on the internet, apparently says the U.S. would be better off following the Australian model, where the government buys up all the guns and leaves its citizens defenseless. Okay. All right, well, here is a proposal fit for the Hall of Fame. A Texas teen using former Dallas Cowboys quarterback Troy Aikman to secure a homecoming date. Jack Corrigan hung out in the principal's office. You can see him there with Aikman, and then had the girl Kaylee called in. And to her surprise, Aikman was waiting with Jack to pop the question. Luckily, she did say yes. Jack got Aikman to help by writing him a letter. Love that story.
It's a nice one, a rare one.
And this morning we are celebrating fall with our own fall festival right here on the plaza. Rick is outside with some fall recipes, Rick.
Yes, early in the show we told you about apple and pumpkin picking, but once you're home, what do you do with all of those apples and pumpkins and squash that you picked? Here were some ideas to cook up the flavors of fall into delicious food is Chef Steve DiFilippo. He is the owner of Davio's Restaurant. Welcome.
Thanks, Rick. Thanks for having me.
Every time when you go out there, you come home with like 2 big bags of stuff, and then eventually they rot. You can't get to them enough.
Well, you got to start cooking. That's
you got to do it right away.
But you know what we did? Bridie and I, our corporate chef, yesterday, we went to the store and bought all this stuff. Because every time I watch shows on TV, I always see chefs with ingredients like, where did they get these things? So what we did is we actually went to Sam's Club, got all this stuff, and here we are making it.
To make sure this thing's that absolutely everybody has access to.
Yeah, it's access to the whole country.
Yeah,
yes.
Great point. All right, so we're starting with risotto.
Okay, so what we did is we took a borrowed rice, which is Italian rice. We put it in here with chicken stock. Now, chicken stock, you know, we like to make our own chicken stock, but, you know, there's really good chicken stocks now that you can buy in a store. Yeah. So I really recommend getting a fresh chicken stock. So we took chicken stock with the rice, we put it in here. Now I'm going to take this this spreadable feta, which is unbelievable. We take this and we put that in here, okay? And then we take a little fresh sage and mix that in here. All right, and then we mix this around.
Is spreadable feta a new thing?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. We got it at Sam's Club. It's amazing. And then we put a little salt and pepper in here. Okay, and then we add the pumpkin, all right, which is really important. And that's what makes it really sweet. And we just mix this around. It's so simple to do. It's really not a big deal. And that's it right here.
Oh, man, I am so glad that it's dinner time right now.
Yep, here we go. And then, you want to try a little?
Yeah, of course.
Plus, we have a lot of other stuff here we have to show you. But,
all right, I'm going to eat, and you're going to talk.
Okay, so we have our mac and cheese, which is really simple. We've actually made the pasta. We made fresh pasta with pumpkin in it, fresh pumpkin inside there, which is fantastic. You can eat that, too, by the way. So you want to try some of that as well?
Yes, please.
Okay, this is awesome. All right.
Wait, so this is homemade pasta?
Arrocchetti, yeah, arrocchetti. There's pumpkin. That's why the color's in there. With mac and cheese, we also put the spreadable feta in there as well. We use that a lot today.
All right, so I know we've got a pumpkin, but butternut squash, a lot of people make soup with that. How do you prep that? What's a good way to...
You know what's really quick to do?
Themselves.
Yeah, well, the skin is kind of tough. So what we do, what I would do at home is I would put it into the microwave for like 5 or 6 minutes, and that makes it really soft, and then scoop it right out. Get rid of the skin and take that, and then you can make the soup really fast. It's like you can have that soup can be done in like 8 minutes.
I think that butternut squash is intimidating for people, so that's a perfect,
well, that's why you want to throw it in the microwave, and because the skin you can cut yourself.
Yeah.
Very important.
All right, these spring rolls.
Spring rolls. Well, you know, we sell our spring rolls in Stop and Shop all over the place. So those are awesome. And then this is really funny. So we made some bread pudding. Okay, look at this. Somebody stole a little bit on the way here. So it's Rodney, Lauren, and I. No one will admit who did that.
Did it?
Yeah, but someone had a load of that.
We have a lot of crew guys that could have been.
Yeah, I don't know who did it. Then we also have our cheesecake, which is really awesome. We put the feta in there as well, so it's chocolate and feta. And I know you don't like cheesecake.
Not a big fan.
But you know, in Boston, which is your favorite city, we eat a lot of cheesecake. I know people think New York has cheesecake, but you know, in Boston,
but you do a lot there. Yeah. All right, listen, this is amazing. It's the season. It's pumpkin. It's apple. How long can you keep them? How long will they last? Like, do you want them refrigerated?
Well, first of all, you shouldn't put it in the refrigerator. Just leave it out. Leave it out. You know, in about a month at the most. You know, and then they start to. You know, you got to be careful with that. But I wouldn't go longer than that.
Okay. All right. Great tips and great recipes. We will have all of these on foxandfriends.com.
Or you can go on Steve at Davio. So, you know, we have all our recipes there. You go on Twitter.
All right. Steve DiFilippo in Davio's restaurant. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Guys, we'll send it to you inside.
Rick, you have the best job ever. How did you get that gig?
It's looking good.
It's good.
Good stuff. But we also have a Fox News alert. Some serious news. Homeland Security, the Department of Homeland Security is confirming foreign threats are now trying to hack into our election. Will your vote be affected? A stunning report about what is happening at state election agencies right now.
That's frightening. Plus, the New York Times tries to take down Donald Trump by releasing his old tax returns. But did they break the law? Sheriff David Clark is here to react. That is just ahead. Stick with us.
As long as we do it as a team, you have the right in this country to say what you think is important.
Unless we disagree with you. Well, if the Mavericks do decide to protest, however, they will be breaking the rules set out by the NBA. Abby?
Thank you, Tucker. All right, and now we go to a Fox News alert. America's election database is under attack, and Russia is the prime suspect.
And now we're learning exactly how hackers are doing it and why the FBI is getting involved.
The Red Scare, Jackie Ibanez, is here with the very latest on this story. Good morning, Jackie.
Good morning. The Department of Homeland Security sounding the alarm after 20 state election databases were targeted by foreign hackers. 4 of them were breached, including Illinois and Arizona. Investigators believe hackers went after computers owned by private contractors who were hired by the states to handle voter information. At least one computer is believed to have fallen victim of a simple phishing scheme involving a malicious link or email that gave hackers access to hundreds of thousands of voters' information. It's believed data wasn't changed, just scanned. In Florida, a historically key swing state, the FBI warning all 67 counties there directly about ballot security after one jurisdiction was targeted but not hacked.
You're urging the states just to make sure that their deadbolts are thrown and their locks are on, and to get the best information they can from DHS just to make sure their systems are secure.
21 states already requesting help from the DHS to beef up security of their election databases. The FBI says it would be very difficult for hackers to change the outcome of elections, but are leaving no stones unturned. If Russia is the culprit, the exact motive behind the attacks is unclear. Abby, Ed, and Tucker, back to you.
pieces there. People want to make sure there's integrity in the election process.
Yeah. Well, there has to be integrity. We have to believe that there's integrity, else the system completely collapses.
Yeah, but this is a frightening new reality that we face, though. You know, these hackers, when you just can't control it.
What's funny, though, is everyone's, it's Russia's doing this, Russia's doing this. Yeah. Here you have an entire political party in this country openly arguing that people should have to show ID before they vote. So, like, which is the bigger threat? I don't know.
Let's start with the IDs.
Yeah, we'll report. You decide. All right, next up, New York Times hitting Donald Trump by releasing 20-year-old tax returns, but shouldn't they be more concerned with the Clinton Foundation? I don't know. Jonah Goldberg has an idea about that. Next.
Finally, somebody who will say what Hillary Clinton's really thinking. Alec Baldwin, Kate McKinnon, take on the candidates on Saturday Night Live.
Here's a tip. If you never want to see my face again, elect me president, and I swear to God I will lock myself in the Oval Office and not come out for 4 years.
New York Times adamantly opposed to the Trump campaign. They've got a front-page story this morning saying Trump has not paid taxes in about 20 years.
But what about the Clinton Foundation and its controversial deals? Is there a double standard in the media?
Well, here to weigh in, Fox News contributor Jonah Goldberg. Jonah, it's great to see you. I can't think of anybody who would defend the proposition that you lose close to $1 billion and then write that off your future taxes. But that's a systemic problem. That's what apparently the system allows. Is the argument against Trump that in order to be patriotic, you ought to pay more than you are required to pay? Is that what the Clinton people are saying? What is their argument exactly?
Yeah, I mean, look, I got a lot of criticism on Twitter last night. As you know, I'm not an enormous Donald Trump supporter.
No, you're not.
But legal tax avoidance just does not offend me in the sense that it may offend me in terms of if the tax code is messed up, if the law is bad, let's change the law. But someone telling me that, oh no, even though it's perfectly legal for you to avoid paying these taxes, you should pay them anyway, I just don't buy it. And I think, as long as you're obeying the law, if you can get your federal income taxes down to zero, more power to you. The problem, the political problem for Trump in this story is, first of all, he's been going around complaining about how other people don't pay enough in income taxes, and he's been going around saying what a fantastic businessman he is, and he lost $1 billion in a year. These are not great stories for him.
And what about the Clinton Foundation? We mentioned in the lead-in, Jonah, that when you want to talk about transparency on tax returns, what about transparency about the donations from foreign governments, foreign companies? But if that's raised in the second debate, it didn't really come up at the first debate, is there going to be talk about the Trump Foundation as well, which the Clinton campaign has talked a lot about?
There certainly should be. I mean, I've been banging my spoon on my high chair for over a year about the Clinton Foundation. I think the Clinton Foundation essentially it did do good charitable works, but that was the price of doing business. The point of the business, that was overhead, helping people in Africa or whatever. The point of the business was to provide a giant sort of super PAC and Rolodex of mega donors and Clinton campaign people during the off years when they were in the wilderness of the Obama administration. And I think it's an outrageous boondoggle, but at the same time, we've been talking about it a lot. Maybe not enough, maybe not in the right media outlets. Of course, there's a double standard. This is, the Trump tax story, which I heard Chris Stirewalt on your show earlier saying, if they released this in May, wouldn't be the bombshell that it is today, but it is news.
But, I mean, if you think the system is rotten and the tax code is corrupt and rigged, and I think it is, isn't it striking to see that all the people who are benefiting from it, from the current system, are donating to Hillary?
Oh, absolutely. And, and that was true largely with Obama, too. He railed against Wall Street and all that, and yet he got more support from Wall Street than Mitt Romney did and than John McCain did. And I think it tells you something about the system. There are a lot of sort of crony capitalist types who, they benefit. I always tell college kids that complexity is a subsidy. And the more complex you make the tax code, the more complex you make the rules, the more you are rewarding people with access to lawyers and consultants and political connections. And that's what the Democrats do.
Complexity is a subsidy. What a smart point. Characteristically.
And Jonah, you said earlier you have been upfront about not being a Trump fan. Do you feel like in recent weeks he has started to close the gap with Hillary Clinton? I mean, we've seen these polls tighten big time.
Yeah, no, he absolutely has. I think if we had seen the Donald Trump that we saw for the first 30 minutes of the debate, if he had stayed that guy through the debate and then through the post-debate instead of the late-night tweeting and all of this crazy stuff, and the stuff he did in Pennsylvania last night, I think he'd be about 5 points ahead right now.
Yeah, I think so too. John Goldberg, the great John Goldberg. Thanks a lot for joining us this morning.
Thanks, guys.
Well, we just talked about the New York Times. Did they break the law by releasing Trump's tax return? Sheriff David Clark is here to weigh in next.
And did you hear Bill Clinton has an executive suite and a private pad above his presidential library? What does it look like? We've got details inside the presidential bachelor pad.
Good morning to you. It is Sunday, October 2nd, 2016. I'm Abby Huntsman, and a bold move from the New York Times trying to take down Donald Trump with a front-page story claiming he has not paid taxes in nearly 2 decades. But the evidence and how they got it raising a lot of questions. And your emails, they are pouring in this morning.
And did you know that Bill Clinton has an executive suite, that's what they're calling it, a private pad above his presidential library in Little Rock? Have you ever wondered what it looks like? We've got details straight ahead on his man cave.
And finally, somebody who will say what Hillary Clinton's really think.
Here's a tip. If you never want to see my face again, elect me president, and I swear to God I will lock myself in the Oval Office and not come out for 4 years.
Citizens, you will vote for me. She said that before. Kate McKinnon and Alec Baldwin was on last night. They took on the candidates on Saturday Night Live. Mornings are better with friends.
Look how cute she is, guys. It is fall. It is a fall festival here on the plaza here at Fox and Friends this morning. Look how adorable she is. We've got pumpkins. We have got face painting. We've got apple cider donuts. And as Tucker likes to say, we're always celebrating something.
Did you know that next week is Revolution Day in Equatorial Guinea? We are celebrating it.
No, that's not true, is it?
I don't know if it is, but if it is true, we will celebrate it because we're all about celebration on this show.
And Tucker will be excited about it.
Yes, we will. And Henry, by the way, in the weekend and doing an awesome job. Thank you.
Good to be with you.
All right, we do start with some headlines of this morning and with a Fox News alert. An angry crowd gathers overnight in Los Angeles after police shoot and kill a man following a car chase. Protesters starting a tense standoff with police at the scene.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. Come on, let's go, y'all. Let's go.
Officers were chasing down a car believed to be stolen. The passenger, Carnell Snell Jr., can see him there, jumped out of the car, tried to run, and that's when he was shot. Police say he had a weapon which was recovered from the scene. And the first lawsuit filed this morning against Saudi Arabia by a 9/11 widow, Stephanie Desimone, who lost her husband, Navy Commander Patrick Dunn, at the Pentagon, says that without the help of Saudi Arabia, the terrorists never would have succeeded. Congress giving lawsuits like this the green light late last week by overriding a veto from President Obama. Hundreds of similar lawsuits are also expected. And as ISIS grows bigger and badder by the day, the United Nations is announcing it has achieved yet another important milestone this morning, declaring a ban on international trade in the natural habitat of the African gray parrot. The bird, parrot, sorry, that's a parrot.
But in France, it's a parrot.
We're going to call it, you know what, it's a parrot. All right. Well, the bird commonly sought after as a pet because of its ability to mimic words. Apparently, there's been a huge decline in population over recent years. And they are dead broke, but they don't live like it. The top floor of the Bill Clinton Presidential Library is a private 5,000 square foot pad exclusively off limits to the public. The executive suite is complete with a massive garden overlooking the Arkansas River. You can see it right there. The apartment was completed back in 2004 along with the rest of the $165 million library. It's nice.
Well, those are your headlines. We turn now to the race for the White House, which, by the way, is in progress as we speak. The New York Times releasing what it says are Donald Trump's 1995 tax returns, the first page of them anyway, showing nearly $1 billion in losses that year.
Now, the paper says they've done the math, and if all they say is true, he potentially could have avoided paying federal income taxes for up to 18 years. But that so-called evidence is raising serious questions this morning.
Garrett Tenney is live for us in Washington, D.C. with how the Trump campaign is responding. Garrett, he is already responding on Twitter this morning.
Yeah, we've now heard from both the campaign and from Donald Trump himself. And it's interesting, though, so far neither has offered any kind of pushback on what's actually in this report. The basis for this story by the Times is 3 pages of Donald Trump's 1995 state tax returns, showing that year he declared a loss of $916 million. Now, tax experts who examined the returns told the paper with a loss that large, Trump could have been able to avoid paying any federal income taxes for up to 18 years. The Times claims it received the documents anonymously and that Trump's former accountant, though, has confirmed their authenticity. This morning, the candidate himself responded to the report, tweeting, "I know our complex tax laws better than anyone who has ever run for president and am the only one who can fix them. Hashtag failing New York Times." We heard a similar response from Donald Trump this past Monday during the first debate as well, when Hillary Clinton made some of those similar allegations due to Trump not releasing his tax returns.
To stop. And we need to. Maybe he doesn't want the American people, all of you watching tonight, to know that he's paid nothing in federal taxes, because the only years that anybody's ever seen were a couple of years when he had to turn them over to state authorities when he was trying to get a casino license, and they showed he didn't pay any federal income tax. So
that makes me smart.
The Clinton campaign is clearly seeking to capitalize on this new report, though, and it issued a statement last night saying in part, there it is, this bombshell report reveals the colossal nature of Donald Trump's past business failures and just how long he may have avoided paying any federal income taxes whatsoever. He calls that smart. Now that the gig is up, why doesn't he go ahead and release his returns to show us all how smart he really is? Now, we should note that none of the tax experts who actually looked at these returns and looked at this report said they found any evidence that Trump actually did anything wrong or broke any laws by filing those returns. Back to y'all.
All right, Garrett Tenney live in Washington. You know, breaking just a few moments ago, also in Washington, our own Chris Wallace hosting Fox News Sunday had New Jersey Governor Chris Christie on, and he said, quote, "This is a very good story for Donald Trump." You can see how they're trying to spin it, saying that it shows how complex the tax laws are, and Donald Trump is the one to fix it.
Yeah, but you know, we had Chris Stirewalt on last hour, and he made a great point saying that he could have nipped this in the bud months ago, well before the general election even started. Why not just give out a statement there? Yeah, he would have gotten hit at the time, but it would have been over with, and no one would be talking about it at this point.
That may be true. I wish people would talk about it, though. I mean, you lose $1 billion and then you don't pay taxes. If that's true, it tells us there's something wrong with the system. This was 1995. Bill Clinton was president. I don't remember him talking about it. I don't remember Obama talking about it. Like, no one has done anything to change it. Hillary Clinton's been living off of it.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
he was busy building a suite in Arkansas.
Exactly. Exactly. If you think the system is corrupt, who's going to change the system? I guess.
Yeah, and the big question now too is, do voters really care? Does this story even matter to them when they read this headline this morning in the New York Times? So we asked that earlier in the show, and your responses are pouring in. This is Johanna's on Twitter. She tweeted at us saying, 21 years ago, give me a break. Just shows he knew how to hire good accountants.
And Chantel on Facebook, I really don't care about any of the candidates, personal or business taxes. Everyone, including me, goes for any deduction I can.
Sean writes this: it's not fair. This billionaire owes us hundreds of billions of taxes that we paid into. My question is, did Hillary Clinton pay more than she owed? Does George Soros pay more than he owes? Does Tom Steyer do that? I mean, that's, since you're raising the question, do you get your tax bill and say, you know what, as a patriotic American, I'm going to pay double?
And do people even care? That, I mean, you think about what really matters at this point in the race in these swing states and the undecided voters that are going to make or break who wins and who ultimately moves into the White House. I just don't know the story is going to change their opinion. If they were going to support Donald Trump, this isn't going to change their mind.
You know what I care about? The endless moral posturing from the left. We're good, you're not. We're virtuous, you're evil. Stop that. Sorry. David Clark is waiting by right now, and he's going to bring sanity to this set. He's going to basically anchor this for us. Great to see you, Sheriff.
Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good.
Excellent. What do you make of this?
Look, you know how much I wish I paid in federal taxes? Zero. And I bet most Americans feel that way. This tax code is all screwed up. Everybody knows it. Look, anytime that within this difficult and complex tax structure, you can find loopholes, you should do that. So this doesn't bother me at all. Like I said, and like Donald said, makes them smart. I wish I could afford those kind of attorneys. That's all that could take my taxes and get my federal tax withholding and everything and get it down to zero. That's what all Americans should be paying in federal taxes, zero.
There does seem to be a disconnect today between the mainstream media and how middle of America feels about this election, about the issues that matter to them. So we're talking about the story in Donald Trump's taxes. How do you think the media is going to handle this from here? Are they going to use this as an attempt to maybe try to take down Donald Trump? How do you see this playing out?
Well, look, none of this is working anyway. To me, this is a sign of desperation by the liberal mainstream media. These rags like the New York Times, the Washington Post, and others are throwing everything they can. I've referred to it to Donald Trump's strategy as a Muhammad Ali rope-a-dope. He's laying against the ropes. They're throwing everything they have. At some point, they're going to tire it out, and then the American people on November 8th are going to fire back, and they're going to knock the liberal mainstream media out in terms of their influence over the American public and their politics.
So if Donald Trump is so corrupt, you'd imagine that every federal lobbyist in D.C. would be giving him money, don't you think? But is that happening? Oh,
well,
wait, none are.
I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't think that Donald Trump is corrupt anyway. Look, he's in that rare air, if you will. His income status, Washington, D.C., those folks in that environment, the Beltway bubble. That's what life is like. Donald realizes that you have to play that game if you're going to get anything done.
Well, Sheriff Clark has strong opinions. He's sticking around. A new study just revealed murder is far worse for African Americans under President Obama. Should Donald Trump continue to tout law and order on the campaign trail? We're going to discuss that.
And then a very serious story from the Augusta Washington Post, a new push to ban dog costumes on Halloween. Buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. It turns out that boy dogs are now being dressed as firemen. Girl dogs, if you're even ready for this, are dressing up as nurses. It's sexist. It's got to stop. And we're going to bring you the latest horror from the Washington Post. Stay tuned.
You can't make it up.
Welcome back. We are still joined by Sheriff David Clark. We couldn't let him go. He tried to leave. Please don't go. So Sheriff Clark, there is chaos going on in America's cities. The press is trying to downplay it. But we've seen it before. 45 years ago, there were riots in over 100 cities in April of 1968. Richard Nixon elected November that year, and there wasn't another riot for over a generation. Do you think Trump, if elected, just by his presence, will stop the chaos?
There's no doubt in my mind. Look, Donald Trump cares about all people, and he's going to heal this racial divide in this country. He realizes that we focus too much on race in America. I mean, what's going on in these great American cities, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., New York, homicide is up. Chicago, it's off the charts. If this were happening in some third world country, we'd call it genocide. But apparently to people like Barack Obama and Black Lives Matter, Black lives do not matter when it comes to murder, and I think that's a shame.
Well, there's a new study out this morning, which is why we wanted to get your take on this, showing that murders among African Americans are on the rise. You can see just the graph there, how high it has gone just in those years. You think about, though, it's been almost 8 years now under an African American president, 2 African American attorney generals as well, and there was a thought 8 years ago that, if anything, that he would be the president that could bring order to this country, that he could bring people together, that he could help calm things down a bit. Here we are 8 years later, and it seems like right now is worse than it's been in a very long time.
You know, we were all hoping that, including me. I thought maybe we'd get into this actual, post-racial period of America, but in fact the opposite happened. But the reason why the opposite happened is because Barack Obama and others started to fan the flames of racial discord in this country for political purposes. They've done it for a long time. And it's really a shame that good, decent, law-abiding black people that are stuck in this plantation, the new plantation called the American Ghetto. I mean, the other 2 nights ago, a 4-year-old child was shot and killed in Milwaukee. There were no riots. There were no demonstrations. And also when this happens with other good law-abiding Americans. And look, this isn't all black people. This is the behavior of the black underclass. They are culturally dysfunctional, where they'll settle disputes with violence. They'll take property by force and engage in those sorts of behaviors. But the police are needed in these areas, and the police need to be assertive. The police are under attack, and so they have become less aggressive than they need to be in these cities to save these good, law-abiding black people and give them some sort of a peaceful existence. But as long as we're going to allow these folks to continue to bash the police with this anti-cop rhetoric, you're going to see that disproportionately more black people are going to be victimized by this than anybody else. This is a shame. This is what these liberal rags like the New York Times editorial board, Washington Post, and others should be focusing on. And instead, you know, they want to play politics. They want to try to bring Donald Trump down. This isn't going to work. But, you know, the thing is, this has been an ugly chapter in America. And who would have thought that after the election of the first black president, the next president is going to have to come along and deliver a Gettysburg-type address to bring the country back together and heal this racial divide.
Yeah. That would be great if someone did that. Sheriff, it's great to see you this morning. Thanks for summing things up so crisply as you always do.
Thanks for being here. Good to see you.
Blue Lives Matter.
All right, coming up, terrorists causing car crashes in the name of Allah. The report on using cars as weapons. That is just ahead.
And comedy or political documentary?
Listen, America, I get it. You hate me. You hate my voice and you hate my face. Well, here's a tip. If you never want to see my face again, elect me president, and I swear to God I will lock myself in the Oval Office and not come out for 4 years. But if you don't elect me, I will continue to run for president until the day I die. And I will never die.
And some quick headlines. Duke University just launched a new class just for men. Some calling it a safe space for men to think about their toxic masculinity, or basically why they're so horrible. Really? On the syllabus for the 9-week program, male privilege, rape culture, and porn. Meanwhile, a serious push to discourage people from dressing their dogs in costumes this Halloween because they're sexist. This according to a new column in the Washington Post, a newspaper actually publishing an article bashing canine costumes, saying owners of female dogs can only choose from French maid and nurse costumes, while choices for male dogs include firefighter and doctor. And that's simply not fair.
I'm going to dress my golden George up like a princess this year.
100%.
All right, speaking of comedy, Saturday Night Live takes on the first presidential debate last night. Watch.
My microphone is broken. She broke it with Obama. She and Obama stole my microphone. They took it to Kenya. They took my microphone to Kenya and they broke it, and now it's broken.
He is a bully.
Shut up.
He started the birther movement.
You did.
He's either not that rich,
wrong,
not that charitable,
wrong,
or he's never paid taxes in his life.
Warmer. Can you hear that? He's picking up some shit.
That was from Saturday Night Live. It was not a documentary. Joining us now to react, comedian Heather McDonald. Heather, it's great to see you. So is this race impossible to parody?
I mean, it is so good. You don't even, it almost feels like a parody when you're watching it in real life. So it's so rich for them to make fun of. And I think they did a great job. And I thought they were very fair in making fun of both Hillary and Donald Trump. And so it was great. I mean, you know what's interesting is I just saw an old SNL from 2012. And you know what? There wasn't that much to make fun of with Romney. You know, so it's like this just keeps giving and giving and giving, and Donald Trump just keeps giving it to them. So you can't. It's just amazing.
Jason Sudeikis
and I thought Alec Baldwin was great.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Well, Jason Sudeikis was pretty good at playing Mitt Romney for years because he did what he could with that role. But there's a debate out there. Are they fair enough to each candidate? And you watch Kate McKinnon, who's just fabulous at playing Hillary Clinton. And I will say, she does exploit some of her biggest weaknesses. Do we have a side of that we can play?
Yes.
We do have that. I think we can play that. Okay. Let's take a look.
Okay.
No, we don't have it, but I'm sure a lot of people watch it enough. They've seen her play Hillary Clinton before.
Yes, I mean, yes, throughout the years she's made fun of the fact that, you know, actually in a sketch that she did with Hillary, she made fun of the fact that Hillary was against gay marriage and then finally was for it and really, and like, with her in the, in the sketch. And so I don't think that they're overly, protecting Hillary. There's enough to make fun about Hillary, obviously. And I thought the way they brought up how at the end of the sketch she brought up Alicia, like almost forgot to bring up my political, tool. And I thought it was really funny, and it was great.
Well, and when you introduce Hillary Clinton at the beginning of the segment, like this is a serious debate, and she's walking out with a cane, still suffering from pneumonia, coughing her brains out. And then what they decided to do, look, as if Clinton and Trump are not enough on their own, Saturday Night Live did something I think is smart, which is they did Family Feud, the Clintons versus the Trumps, and then you get to widen the circle. Watch this real quick.
Yeah.
We got Team Hillary Clinton taking on Team Donald Trump. And on the Trump side, we got Trump campaign manager Kellyanne Conway.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you for having us on Jeopardy.
What a pleasure it is to be here, Steve. This is fun.
Senator Clinton is the prune juice of this election. She might not seem that appetizing, but if you don't take her now, you're going to be clogged with crap for a very long time.
Name a reason people give for being late. Kellyanne.
Okay, well, Steve, I do not have an answer, even though I did buzz in. So I'll do what I usually do, which is talk and talk until people forget the question, and then I'm going to make an insane claim about Hillary.
May I ask my brothers for help?
They not here.
Yes, we are.
Ivanka, what you doing over here?
We're just getting acquainted.
Get enough of Bill Clinton jumping in there, Heather,
and
but
Daryl
also
Hammond, so
Daryl
good.
Hammond, right? And everyone's disappointed when Bernie Sanders got out. Even if you weren't a fan, you had to be disappointed that Larry David would only be making cameos. If Sanders were the nominee, Larry David would have been riding this election pretty hard.
Yes, and I love that he keeps doing him. He does him great. And I love that Alec Baldwin, they got to do Donald Trump versus like a new 30-year-old cast member. Like it really helps when the person impersonating him can look like him, is of the same age. I think that's why we loved, Tina Fey as Sarah Palin. So it makes it really fun when the people, keep coming and they get it so accurately. And I love the Family Feud sketch. I thought it was great.
A lot of characters
we're
to play
making
with.
fun of people. Yeah, and they're all adults. We're not, remember so many years ago, SNL got in a ton of trouble because they had someone playing Chelsea, and she was, at an awkward age. Chelsea Clinton, she was 13, and that they really got in trouble for that. Why are you making fun of a child? So, but now we can. They've all agreed. They all decided to go on The Apprentice. They've all made themselves known to the world. So I think go for it. And I thought it was a brilliant idea.
I haven't seen a lot of making fun of Chelsea, but I'm happy to see it.
Well, now that we've got over 30 days.
Wait, I guess. Yeah, I don't think there's that much you can really make fun of her now, except
I don't know.
to pay for that 11. Well, Chelsea Clinton, what can you say? How did you pay for that $11 million apartment?
Okay.
Thanks, Heather McDonald. We appreciate it.
Heather McDonald, good to see you.
Thanks for being here.
Meanwhile, back to the actual campaign. The Clinton camp in full damage control mode after Hillary Clinton says Bernie Sanders supporters are basement dwellers and kind of like losers. Even Politico now feeling the heat.
And what's your favorite way to warm up on a cool fall day? Well, you could get a 1,400-pound pet bear and snuggle up. That works.
It's your shot of the morning. We are celebrating all things Tucker Carlson. That's the spirit. Pumpkins, apple cider, it's spice in the air, face painting. You love all these things.
I love it. And Abby's getting her face painted too later in the show.
Oh, I am.
Really?
There's not much left in the show.
I love when we get to learn things live on television.
100%. This show's almost over, and I'm holding on like sand through an hourglass. I feel it's.
I got my face painted already. I don't look this good usually.
Yeah,
there's a lot of makeup.
That's true. I don't want to say anything yet, but I'm glad you're public.
Yeah, it's really nice of you. Anyway.
All right, you saw this. You've seen this for last week. Hillary Clinton mocking Bernie Sanders supporters. She loves them. They're great, but they're also losers who live in their mom's basement playing video games in between their shifts at some dead-end job at Starbucks. Here's the original, in case you missed it.
There's just a deep desire to believe that, we can have free college, free health care, that what we've done hasn't gone far enough and we just need to, go as far as, Scandinavia, whatever that means. They're children of the Great Recession, and they are living in their parents' basement. If you're feeling that you're consigned to, being a barista or, some other job that doesn't pay a lot and doesn't have much of a ladder of opportunity attached to it, then the idea that maybe, just maybe, you could be part of a political revolution is pretty appealing.
People wonder, how does the media cover a story like that? So you hear the audio tape with your own ears, Hillary Clinton mocking people who supported Bernie Sanders.
That should be the headline.
And that's what Politico did as the original headline. They said Clinton mocks Sanders supporters in leaked fundraising recording. Now remember, then the Clinton camp pushed back to everyone in the media and said, no, she wasn't mocking anyone. So then there was a new headline at Politico. Clinton gives her take on Sanders supporters in a leaked fundraising recording. Look, that's true. It's accurate. She gave her take, but you can glean from that take that it was kind of demeaning.
They didn't stop there, though. Here's what the editor's note said. It says the headline and the lead of this story have been changed to better reflect Clinton's tone.
To better reflect what the Clinton campaign says.
Well, you'd think, look, everyone in the media is in the tank for Clinton, Politico especially, but you'd think they'd have some self-respect. Do you know what I mean? Where I'm not going to be bullied by her staff. I mean, by the way, they run headlines all the time. Trump, florid lunatic. If the Trump camp, Kellyanne Conway calls up and says, complains, so they change it to Trump gives speech? No, they don't. They stay with Trump is a florid lunatic.
Well, we all heard the audio, though. I mean, you hear what she's saying there. Can I just say this, too? Because I spent a day working at Starbucks as a barista.
Yes.
And I really, because she was dissing just the job of a barista in that audio there in the fundraiser. It's a tough job. And the people that I was shadowing, they love what they do, and they take that very seriously. We could sit here and mock being a barista all day long, which was what she was kind of doing. But after that experience firsthand, I mean, I think it's offensive.
You know what's also a tough job is being a Politico reporter, because not only do you have to report the story, then write it, then you have to send it to the Clinton campaign for approval. And we learned in one leak of emails that they actually sent a story to the Clinton people saying, what do you think? We haven't run it yet. Just kind of want to get your take on it. Mommy, can we run this?
I'm glad you clarified that you were shadowing someone. Originally, I thought maybe you only spent one day there and couldn't do it.
Well,
you said I only spent a day as a barista.
It didn't last.
It was a story.
They fired me. I went back into my parents' basement and I called it a day.
You didn't figure out how to get the hormone-free foam into the lattes.
Exactly. All right, we do have some other headlines to get to this morning, starting with this. A veteran returns from tour overseas only to be attacked by a suspected terrorist right here at home. The California man saying he was on his way to play golf when another driver intentionally crashed into his car at 100 miles an hour. According to a police report, he was angry about Donald Trump's improper treatment of minorities, and the crash was done in the name of Allah. The FBI is now on that case. And stop paying POTUS. That is what more than 40,000 people are asking Congress in a new petition on Stand United. They say the president shouldn't be paid while aggressively campaigning for Hillary Clinton. President Obama's salary is about $400,000, and it costs $180,000 for every hour of flight on Air Force One. The petition comes as the president reportedly plans to devote at least one day every week to campaign for Hillary Clinton. And a bear that is part of the family. This upstate New York man plays with this 1,400-pound brown bear. His name is Jimmy, and as if it's like his own son. How cute is that? And he and his wife adopted a 9-foot-tall bear 20 years ago when he was just a cub. Jimmy is one of 11 bears the couple cares for at the Orphaned Wildlife Center. Here's a few of the others snuggling up to their owner.
Wow. Yeah.
I've never seen that before.
Because that's going to end well, because they're fully domesticated. They're not going to eat anybody. I'm not rooting for that, by the way.
Okay, good. We just want to clarify.
But that seems like a dangerous arrangement. Who?
Rick Reichman.
Very cuddly.
He is cuddly.
To be truthful, we've never cuddled.
To be true.
Good point. True journalist, Rick.
But I would love to move in with that family. I'm telling you. Send me over. Let's talk a little weather, guys. There is a hurricane out there. It's Hurricane Matthew. It's a major hurricane, Category 4, and it's just kind of to the north of Colombia, and it is now moving towards the north. And in the short term, say by tomorrow, major impacts, I think, especially for Haiti. I think you're going to be on the wrong side of the storm, getting very close. We'll see some spots, probably 10 to 20 inches of rain, some isolated spots, possibly up to 40 inches. That will cause life-threatening flooding and mudslides all across that island, in that part of the island, which has been deforested over the last number of years as well. Here's the forecast track. What does this mean for the U.S.? Gets very close, say, by around Thursday into Friday, maybe the eastern shores of Florida having some impacts with this, and then we're going to watch it very closely. It looks like by any account it's going to hug the coast. By some storm possibility makes some sort of a landfall on the eastern seaboard. And that's about a week from now, guys. So we have a big storm that we're going to watch on the eastern seaboard, and it could be impacting a lot of us. Obviously, so many people focusing on elections. We're going to have to focus on this as well.
Yeah,
guys.
it's an important one. All right, thanks so much, Rick.
Appreciate that. Look, well, the question this time of year is, what's a lame duck president to do with his last few months in office? If President Obama gets his way, he'll be adding a new racial category checkbox, surprise, surprise, to government documents.
The New York Times tries to take down Donald Trump publishing partial tax returns and claiming he has not paid his taxes in decades. But does talking taxes actually help Donald Trump? Maria Bartiromo, she is in the house. She's joining the couch next.
And some quick morning headlines. New overnight, the U.S. government officially cuts the cord, handing over control of the internet. After 47 years, a California-based nonprofit is now in charge of the entire internet address system. It's all part of a long-term project to privatize the web. And the White House wants to add a new racial category for Middle Eastern people. Under current law, people from the Middle East are considered white. If approved, the new designation could appear on the 2020 census. It would also make them eligible for numerous anti-discrimination measures.
Front page story in the New York Times this morning, Donald Trump's tax returns. The paper got 3 pages of those returns from 1995, and it is dominating conversation this morning.
They're claiming he maybe has not paid any taxes at all in almost 20 years. But our next guest says it's just another attempt at getting Trump to stray from his message. Here to explain, Sunday Morning Features host Maria Bartiromo. He has taken the bait a few times recently, and you believe if we put both of the tax plans on the table, not the tax returns, but what they would actually, each candidate wants to do with the current tax system, this would be a debate Trump could win.
It absolutely could be. Look, we don't really know what's in these documents, what isn't in these documents, but what we do know is there are provisions in the tax code that allow wealthy individuals to offset their income with losses coming from business ventures or in their business. That's exactly what it sounds like these returns say. He could have used as many as 3 years before 1995 and as many as 15 years after to offset losses in 1995. We know that, and it's all legal. What I think this is once again the Clinton camp, and they're getting help from the New York Times, trying to take him off message, because the fact is he has a good message when it comes to the economy. No doubt about it, lowering corporate taxes and rolling back regulations will move the needle on economic growth. Her economic plan is not as cohesive. So she has to take him off message, whether it is the birther issue, his tax returns, his business, Miss Universe, whatever she can do to get him talking about anything other than his economic message is a win for her.
Now, to your point, though, this morning, Donald Trump appears to be on message because he sent out a tweet reacting to this, didn't go off into a side issue, instead said, I know our complex tax laws better than anyone who has ever run for president, and I'm the only one who can fix them, hashtag failing at New York Times. So he's got his shot in at the New York Times. But when it comes to the estate tax, for example, Hillary Clinton is proposing a major increase that a lot of people are wondering about.
That's right. She's raising the estate tax. She's also raising taxes on the wealthiest. And that is going to hit small business. When I speak with small business owners, they are getting regulated out of business and they are getting taxed out of business. And so small business cannot wait to get a breather, whether it be a rollback in regulations or lower corporate taxes. And that's what Donald Trump is offering.
What's the real argument against Trump here? That he didn't pay more than he owes? Does Hillary Clinton pay more than she owes? Does Tom Steyer do that?
There is nothing illegal here. I mean, we all know that. There is nothing illegal here. If you really want to talk about breaking the law, you could actually take a look, frankly, at lying to Congress, at hiding evidence. I mean, that's actual breaking the law. This is not breaking the law. Having said that, it doesn't look good. There's no doubt about it. People are going to say, oh, he doesn't pay taxes. I mean, it just doesn't look good.
The tax code's disgusting.
The tax code allows it, and that's...
And you're going to chew on this on your show.
We're going to talk about it, right? We've got General Flynn coming from the Trump campaign. General Flynn, of course, has been a Trump advisor, and on the Trump team, we're going to talk with him about this. Now we've got Representative Diana DeGette from the Clinton side as well, and then we're going to talk with Congressman Trey Gowdy from the Judiciary. Of course, he's continuing this investigation of the Clinton Foundation.
And pressing the FBI director, among others.
And pressing Jim Comey, so we'll get into that.
If you could see our to-do list every Sunday morning, it's like, Sunday Morning Futures.
Let's get to it.
Thank
Never
you.
miss it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
See you in 10 minutes.
Coming up. we saved the best part of our fall festival for last.
Abby Huntsman getting her face painted on live television. If you missed that, you're crazy.
Now here's a proposal fit for the Hall of Fame. A Texas teen using former Dallas Cowboys quarterback Troy Aikman to secure a homecoming date. Jack Corrigan hung out in the principal's office with Aikman, then had the girl, Kaylee, called in. To her surprise, Aikman was waiting with Jack to pop the question. She said yes. Jack got Aikman to help by writing him a letter. And Arnold Schwarzenegger in trouble with the law. Terminator himself and this bodyguard were stopped by the police for riding their bikes too fast along a German train platform this week. Schwarzenegger's now apologized, explaining he was having trouble walking and decided to bike instead. So,
all right. All morning here at Fox and Friends, we've had our own amazing fall festival out in the plaza, thanks to a fantastic apple orchard, Minard's Family Farms. And when you think of the hay rides, the pumpkin picking, and the apple cider, etc., you think of other fun activities like kids getting their face painted. Not a lot of people have asked us to change Abby Huntsman, we'll be totally honest with you, but we did anyway.
She's a little kid at heart.
You said kid, but you know what? This is lovely. Anna here is doing this. She said this is a very grown-up, sophisticated look that she's giving me. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that's right.
Abby, game for everything. So, Anna Moslova, you're a professional face painter.
Yes, that's right.
As a child, did you ever think you'd become that?
Yes, I was an artist my whole life.
Wow.
And I'm happy to do what I love for a living.
Well, you do a great job.
That's great. They're going to do it next, right?
So what's the nothing will
So
what's the key to a successful? Hey, wow.
And look how good these little kids look. You guys, come show everyone your faces. How pretty you look.
There's a couple of
What's the key to successful face painting?
Kids seem to really respond to it when you do it.
You look at the face in front of you and try to bring out its wild spirit.
Does it look good?
So it's sort of a Mike Tyson theme then.
Mike Tyson definitely knows about face art.
Yes, he does know about face art.
What are you guys thinking?
So, you guys have got what? Butterflies?
Butterflies.
Yeah.
And what about you?
Unicorn.
Isn't that cool?
Hey, I think I know what you are.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Unicorn.
All right.
Wow.
Butterfly.
Oh,
That's really
is
cool.
awesome.
You
got a
look
great group of
beautiful.
folks. What about
I'm a rainbow.
you? Oh, I can tell. You're looking good. That's great.
really
That's
so
really
fun.
awesome.
So face paint, how does it taste?
You want to try?
Yeah. Is it totally non-toxic?
Here you go. Let's see it. Oh,
You really did taste
it.
It's not bad.
Well, you can't use this brush no more.
Well, Rick Reichmuth is going to save us here, Rick.
Did I?
Here, Abby,
Oh,
hold
no,
this brush and tell people why we shouldn't use it.
Just why they shouldn't use
Because I
it.
licked it. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, we're going to go.
Rick, save us from this moment.
No, wait. Tucker, keep looking that, and then we'll check back in with you in a second. All right, Elena Perling.
Good morning.
Good morning. This is exciting stuff going on at Michael's right now.
That's right.
Today from
1 to 3 this afternoon.
anybody can go into a Michael's and
That's right.
spend
$7.
to buy a pumpkin, and then you provide all of the stuff to decorate it.
Yeah, we're going to make this adorable little Dracula that we've got up here.
All right,
Isn't
how do we do
cute?
it?
It's really easy. We've got everything pre-cut to make it super simple for us. First thing we are going to do is make our Draculas smile. So you've got a smile right there, and you should have some glue right by your pumpkin.
Uh-huh.
And we're going to glue our smile into place.
Okay.
Perfect. Can see how easy that is.
I thought this was an eyebrow, not a smile. I
Well,
missed
we
that
have
part.
eyebrows also. Your eyebrows here.
Gotcha.
You're just ahead of the trend. So here is his eyebrow.
Oh, gotcha.
So that goes
Okay.
on there too.
All right.
And the fun thing about Michael's is you can get creative with it. That could be a smile or an eyebrow, whatever you want to do. It's your creative pumpkin.
Okay.
Great. And then you're going to glue on your wiggle eyes. I love wiggle eyes. They're so much fun.
These are shady.
A little bit. Well, it is
Uh-huh.
Halloween and fall, so it's okay to do that.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Love it. Perfect. And then we'll do the other one. Very nice.
This is I don't think I've ever crafted, but I'm fast.
See, now you could have fooled me. I thought you were a pro. I love it.
All right.
And then we can go ahead and add some paint. We can paint his little stem black. It's like his hairdo. You've got kind of a crazy Dracula. I like it.
Mhm.
Maybe he's really hungry.
So you guys you do this every day? Obviously, people can go and buy any of this to do at home.
That's exactly right. We've got tons of decor and craft stuff, but again, you can come into your local Michael's this afternoon from 1 to 3 and make this fun Dracula for $7.
Okay. Well, listen, I'm going to work on this a little bit more.
He looks
and,
great.
We have more Fox and Friends coming up after the break. Stay with us. Oh.
Well, we're back.
Oh, yeah. Abby Huntsman is totally transformed.
I haven't seen it yet, actually. How does it look?
It actually looks great.
Good.
I'm not scaring anyone.
Could you transfer that permanently, but with the tattoo?
You were eating the paint, Tucker.
I was.
So you're not
And it
with the
wasn't
color.
bad, to be totally
But
honest.
it has been an awesome fall festival on the plaza today. We've had pumpkins, we've had apple cider donuts, we've had face painting.
I had
Goes on
mac and
up.
cheese and risotto.
How was it?
It's the happiest place in New York City.
That's the
Yes,
greatest
it is.
breakfast ever.
Not that saying much.
It's lunchtime for us.
What a great show.
It has been awesome.
Thank you for doing the weekend,
I
Ed.
appreciate you having me here. We have a couple of emails reacting to Saturday Night Live as well.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, I see them right there. One came from Bill. Here's hoping Kate McKinnon has a long future with her SNL character, but Alec Baldwin does not.
This from Andrew. SNL is not funny. It has not been funny for decades. Nothing but mean, snarky, swarmy, left-wing, arrogant elites.
Oh, my.
I think that's about right. I still thought it was kind of funny. All right, Donald Trump's going to be on the show tomorrow.
Don't miss it, Monday morning.
Along with Judge Andrew Napolitano, Olivia Newton-John.
I love Olivia Newton.
And Baseball Hall of Famer Johnny Bench will be here as well.
Who wouldn't watch that?
This is a great show.
You'd be crazy not to.
All right, log on to foxandfriends.com. We're going to do the after the show.
I'm
We're
going to
talk a
Instagram
little
your
bit
face
more.
here right in a second, Abby Huntsman.
And now you guys can
We're
get your
doing a
face
selfie
painted.
now.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to get right on
We're
that.
going to do more
your
Fall
train ride
Festival
home.
online.
Train ride home.
Thanks for joining us today. Have a great rest of the Sunday.
And don't forget, foxandfriends.com. After the show, we'll have more Fall Festival coming up.
More mac and cheese and risotto.